Mason Young here. Today we've got a song that we're mixing for a client. Had it mixed, had it produced, thinks it's a little bit too poppy, so they sent me all the stems, and I'm going to go have a look through the stems, and we're going to see if I can add anything that's going to make the song a little less poppy, a little bit more exciting to listen to, I suppose. To me it sounds a little bit synthy, a little bit thin, but I'm going to give it a shot here and see exactly what I can pull off. It's a really cool song, actually, all the way through. It sounds, it's got a nice groove. I think I'm going to start with just a big kind of Marshall. Just thicken up underneath everything else, just give it some support. This is what it would sound like with this Marshall sound underneath. So I finished off the Marshall heavy guitar line, and I'm going to do this little 70s percussive line underneath, especially the bridge section, kind of a little something like that. I'm going to add one more guitar part. It's another Marshall type sound, a little bit more British. So. Kind of just big cascading chords. I'm not really sure what I'm going to treat it with after that, but that'll be the raw effect. So it looks like I'm going to put in one more, just a heavy rhythm, just a... So I skipped over some of the less fun stuff. All the stems come in stereo, which I do not mix everything in stereo. If you have everything in stereo, you have two sets of monos, which really isn't stereo. So you can't pan, you can't place, you can't do a lot of things when you have a mono or a stereo track that goes into a stereo effect, such as a reverb or delay. You end up not using ping pong effects. Modulation doesn't work very well. So everything that I could went to mono, so I can place everything a little bit better. Named all the tracks. That also is a very big task. Normally I will request they're named a little cleaner to my naming system, but not this time. So broke the vocals apart. In total there was 60 tracks that came in all in stereo, and now we're down to about 35, mostly in mono. The drums are going to be an interesting treatment. We'll see how that works out. So the next step at the moment is going to be to go ahead and put all my plugins that I like to use: a virtual tape, Slate's virtual tape machine, the VMR, so virtual rack. I always mix top down, so I always start with bus compressor so that I'm not fighting to mix at the end. So I have the stereo track that's actually, they're calling it overheads, but it's really actually quite a good stereo mix of the whole kit. First thing I'm going to add on this system is the virtual tape machine. Punch the saturation quite a bit higher. I'm going to slow it down to 15 IPS, and we're going to go to the 16 track setting. So I'm going to push this really quite hard. Now on the mix bus, I'm actually not going to worry too much about the compression. I do like some of the deep, or some of the presets. So I'm actually going to use a few of the presets to set that up. Basically the goal is going to be to have a bunch of saturation, clean up the bottom, clean up the top, and basically gain stage the whole thing so it stays nice and stable. So I went through and edited all the vocal tracks, had them all lined up the way I like to have them. I almost always run the Slate VMRs, most of the time the tape decks. On this set of vocals, I really like this model of the distressor. It just kind of popped everything right out. So that was very helpful. Everything was bussed to independent groups. Ran another set of bus effects on those. Almost always uses Bomber. It just seems to glue everything right together for me. So that always works really, really well. And then went through and did a little bit of effect work. Changed up a little bit of the, just some texture to give it some throwback track. I'll blow this out onto a track and then put it through a mastering process, and I think we're done. That intro is all dirtied up. It used to be super clean, so now it's all, that little keyboard line has, I actually ran it through a guitar amp and a little bit of delay.